Okay, this is the worksheet that has the 5 W's and how to interpret it to theory added in. This is the expanded version, so I'm going to go over each one. So at the very beginning, you state your theory or your thesis. It goes right here in these lines. Your thesis should be in the formula of what is believed and the 3 reasons. It should be a sentence that flows well. For example, the Sauter children were not in the house because, and then list the 3 reasons you think. Then these 3 reasons all go here. The first reason, then the second, let me move it up, the second reason, and the third reason. Then after you do that, you go to your articles and you must space these out over the articles. You can't get a quotation from just one article or 2 articles. Space them out over several articles. You have to have 5 articles on your reference, on your works cited page. So when I say quotation, I mean copy and paste a sentence from your article that substantiates your reason. So if your reason up here is the Sauter children were not in the house because lack of remains. Let's say lack of remains was one of them. Then the first quote should have something to do with the lack of remains, how you're proving that there were no remains in the house. You're taking a quote from one of the articles proving it. So I have a quote. Let's do that in a different color so you can see it. I have a quote here. They did not find any bones or teeth in the ashes. I have a quote. You cite the quote with that parentheses, which would be the author and paragraph number. And if you look down here, this tells you checklist for each reason. Each of the 3 quotes are in quotation marks and a citation in parentheses with the author's last name, and paragraph number is at the end of each quote like this. If there is no author, it's like this. I show you what it looks like. So you have that after every quote. Then after the quote, the 5 W's about the quote is tell me all about what's happening surrounding the quote. So if the fire chief said there was no remains, the who would be the fire chief. The what would be about the remains. Where did it happen? Was it during the arson investigation? When did it happen? Was it how many days after the fire? A month or 2 after the fire? And why is it why does it prove remain, or why does it prove there was a lack of remains? And then your interpretation to theory should always be something similar to this supports the theory that the Sauter children were not in the household when the fire occurred because there was a lack of remains. So each time you do a quote, hold on. Each time you do a quote, you do the 5 W's about the quote. Try to find out all the information that you can about the quote. And then you do the interpretation back to your theory, your lack of remains. So your second reason is going to be something else, and your third reason is going to be something else. So when you get finished with these, you will have a quotation. You will have all the information about that quote to explain it, and then you will have an interpretation to theory, because the rule of thirds says that's what you have to do for every quotation. You have to explain it after you have the quotation, then you explain it, then you interpret it back to the theory, and then you move on. But every quote that you use must be interpreted back to the theory, the 3 reasons of what you believe. Let's try one more. Say the second reason was the suspicious circumstances. And say the first quote was The ladder was found a mile down the road by a family member. Quotation mark, then citation. Citation information goes in here. Author, paragraph number, period. So then the next part is 5 W's about the quote. You try to find all these W's that you can. Okay, where did it happen? Where the ladder was supposed to be leaning against the house, but it was found a mile down the road. When did it happen? The ladder was against the house before the fire started. When the fire started, it was gone. Who did it happen to? Mr. Sauter was trying to find the ladder to climb into the second story. Where, let's see, who, what, where, when, and then why. The ladder was a rescue attempt by Mr. Sauter, and since it wasn't there, he couldn't get into the second story. So interpret it to your theory. If your theory is there were suspicious circumstances, then you would say this supports these suspicious circumstances that surround the Sauter family fire. These things that happened were not normal. And so you have several sentences that you can add after each quotation. When you're finished with this worksheet, you copy and paste your works cited page here. So I can check if these citations here that go after your quote match the articles that you're going to put on your works cited page. And you just copy and paste them in. And I know it messes with spacing on this, but that's okay for this worksheet. And then you save it as a DOC or DOCX file in the Word program, and you submit it. I hope this helps.